Stephanie from Raven and Blots, and today I'm going to be doing my July wrap-up video. I'm going to be doing my August one either later today or sometime within the next week by, August 5th or so. Something like that. But, so I just wanted to do my wrap-up right quick before we get headed into Booktubeathon, which starts tomorrow. I'm so excited. Yay! Super jazz hands. Okay, so for the month of July, I read 6 books. These ones right here. For the most part, they were pretty good books. They were interesting books. I liked the books. Yeah, some of them I didn't, and some of them were not rated as highly, but that's just because reasons. I don't know why. Anyway, so the books I read this month, the first one was The Fangirl's Guide to the Galaxy, a handbook for geek girls by Sam Maggs. This is, I rated this one a 3.5 on the Goodreads scale. The reason I gave it a 3.5, it was a really intriguing book. I literally bought it because of the back cover, and it was talking about feminism and stuff, and how to be a feminist while you're still a girl geek, and it was really cool. However, the problem is that I kind of already knew most of this stuff. It would be a great gift for like somebody who doesn't know much about geeks or fandoms or shipping or OTPs, but most of it I found that I was like kind of almost skimming through because I knew it. She had a couple really good details and points on about conventions and cosplay, and also about getting autographs and photos from people. So those were also good, and it's not like it was a bad read. It was just not really as in-depth as I was hoping for. So I definitely would encourage a lot of people to check it out, but it's just not my cup of tea. Like, it's good for somebody who's a noob or who really doesn't understand a lot of the other fandoms, but for me, well, it also seemed to end kind of poorly. It was like she had this great last 2 chapters were talking about feminism in the geek world and how we really need to support female authors that come out, and also new superheroes that come out who are feminists, and it was really good. And then she just kind of dwindled down and ended, and it wasn't like there was a rallying cry or anything like that. But it was a good read. I will give you that. It was a quick read, so if you're looking for something like for a readathon, totally go with that, because there's a lot of lists and stuff so you can kind of skim and flip through really fast. And yeah, but 3.5 for me. And the next is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, and this is by Leslie Walton. I have an entire review video about this book on my channel. I rated it a 3-star rating from Goodreads, and there are a whole bunch of reasons why I rated that. Way too many to go into for this video right now, but you can always just go onto my channel and check it out. I kind of say why. The main reason is there was such a disconnect from the characters to the story that was being told. I really wasn't a fan of it, so that would be partly why it only got a 3 rating. The next one is Jane Austen Education, How 6 Novels Taught Me About Love, Friendship, and the Things That Really Matter. And I'm sorry, but I'm totally going to mispronounce this name because I don't know how to say it, and it's a really weird name, and it's William Deary C. Ricks. Sorry. That book I picked up because I love Jane Austen. She's like my homegirl, and I love her, but the problem is it's almost like he wrote a dissertation paper, which you actually find out in the last chapter. He did write a dissertation paper about Jane Austen and her 6 novels. However, it's like he took that entire paper and just turned it into book form with hardly any editing, because it's so lofty sounding is really what it is. I mean, he almost sounds pretentious, and he really sounds like a braggart at times, like, I am the only guy who's ever read Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, dude, no, stop it. So I think had his tone been different and also his writing style been different, I probably would have liked the book a little bit more. As it was, it really only rated, I think, a 3.5 on my Goodreads. I was kind of disappointed with that one because I was really looking forward to hearing what he what a guy thought about Pride and Prejudice and about persuasion, all that. And instead of actually giving his opinion, he really turned it, like I said, very lofty, very pompous sounding, and kind of turned it on its head and said, yeah, I'm going to not tell you my opinion, and I'm just going to say what a lot of other people say, which is what he did, and it's kind of annoying. And so you live and you learn. You don't buy that book. Not worth it. Next one I read is Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. She is actually one of my new auto-buy authors. I love this book. So good. All the feels. It basically deals with Taylor, who her dad is dying of cancer, and her dad and mom decide that for this summer they want to have one last summer all together as a family. And so they have their entire family move to their lake house, and it's so good. Like, honestly, guys, Morgan has a way of just writing about really hard stuff without making it seem too campy. There's romance, but more than that, it's more about a girl and her family learning to come to the conclusion that their dad won't always be around. And no, there's no spoilers. That's exactly what's written on the back, okay? I promise. No spoilers, guys. I hate that when people do that. I'm like, why did you spoil the book? Okay, that was an ugly cry impression, because you will ugly cry, and it will take all your feels and your emotions and slap them upside your head. And you need to read that book, man. It's like awesome. Like, totally read it, and then we can talk about it and be all like feely together. It works for me. Okay, next one that I read was Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. This was a surprise to me. I bought it on a whim, and I actually ranked it at 4.5 stars as well on my Goodreads, because it was just so good. It deals with Audrey, who actually has anxiety attacks, not depression like I thought when I first bought the book. But for me, Sophie Kinsella books are really kind of hit and miss. Like, sometimes she'll do really good ones, and sometimes I just don't care about them. But I think writing for YA, she actually makes the characters a little bit more believable. The family in there is hilarious. They are so real and so flawed. I absolutely love them. I honestly was so happy to read this book. And the only reason it's a 4.5, there are a couple issues with it that I didn't care for, but one of them was the fact that there's an incident happens at school between the popular girls and Audrey, and you're not really ever told what this incident is, and so it's kind of like I'm not sure what it is, but obviously abject humiliation and ridicule were involved in this. But yeah, so anyway, but it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it, which was surprising because, again, Sophie Kinsella, hit and miss. But it ended up being one of my favorites of the month. So I was pleasantly surprised. You guys should read that. I think it's the Bookstagrammer, the Booksplosion Book of the Month. So if you haven't picked it up already, go ahead and pick it up. You can join the Booksplosion. But yeah, it's a really good book. I really enjoyed that one. So you should pick that up. And the last book that I read was Miracle in the Middle by Charlotte Gamble. Now, this book is a nonfiction Christian writer, and she basically talks about how when you have a call from God in your life, and he basically places you somewhere and then you aren't going anywhere, and you feel like you're just stuck in a rut in the middle, and you're not going forward and you're not moving back, and it's just really impossible to see where you're supposed to be. I loved that book. Like, that is my 5-star rating for the month. I loved it. It was so great. It was so beautiful and just well written and eloquently spoken. And, you know, Charlotte has a way of being very humble and being very honest with people, and yet still leading them back to what the Bible says about it. So that was one of my favorite books. I was definitely impressed with it, but I usually am with her books, honestly. But I loved it. It was one of my favorites, honestly, and I'm going to recommend that to a lot of people. So anyway, guys, those are my 6 books that I read for July. Booktubeathon starts tomorrow for those of us who are in the States. It starts tomorrow. I'm super excited for it. And hopefully this next month, because of Booktubeathon and a couple other readathons I'm going to be taking a part in, that I will be able to read a lot more. That would be like super awesome. Jazz hands! Anyway, if I don't, well, you know, reading is reading. It's always fun. Anyway, guys, you have an awesome day, and keep reading, you awesome book dragons, you.